This right here is the semimembranosus, and it's called that because it is partially a membrane, or membranous, or looking like a membrane. In fact, it's the upper portion of it, or the more proximal portion of it. It's this thin, flat, highly tendinous section, and we call that a membrane, so we call this the semimembranosus. And it belongs to a muscle group collectively known as the hamstrings, more properly known as the posterior thigh compartment muscles. And in today's video, we're going to be using this 100% free Kenhub article to learn everything you're going to need to know about the semimembranosus. We've gone ahead and left a link down in the description below, so you're welcome to follow along. Let's go ahead and start here and look at its origin. So again, this is in the posterior thigh. There are three compartments of the thigh. You have an anterior, medial, and a posterior thigh compartment. And so the nice thing about the posterior thigh compartment is that all three muscles, so semimembranosus, which we're discussing, you also have semitendinosus and biceps femoris, each one of them are going to originate in the exact same place. And that is going to be here at what's known as the ischial tuberosity. So this is a posterior view. So you can see the back of the sacrum. You can see kind of like these bumps here. That is a real strong indicator that this is a posterior view. But then we can also see this really strong line on the back of the femur. This is called the linea aspera. But the dead giveaway to me is always going to be the condyles. The condyles of the femur, you're only going to be able to see in a posterior view. So as soon as I see that, I know for a fact that I'm looking at a posterior view. And so that means the ischial tuberosity, which is basically just a whole lot of bumps on the back of what is known as the ischium. The ischium is one of three bones that fused to form the os coxa. And so the ischial tuberosity, by the way, if you ever like sat on someone and they say you have a bony butt, they're talking about the ischial tuberosity. Semimembranosus is going to originate here. But where it is going to insert, so we can come over here, is going to be here at what's known as the medial condyle of the tibia. However, it's really going to be on the posterior aspect of it. So this is an anterior view, we can tell because of the patella. We can see the femur, you can see the fibula, you can see the tibia, and this is showing the entirety of that medial condyle. But we're going to see, and we have animations that are even going to illustrate this pretty strongly, that this is going to insert on the posterior aspect of that medial condyle. But this is just giving you a really strong insight as to where that bony landmark is going to be. So before we see the functions, I also want to look at its innervation. So we're going to scroll down and you can see just how much is inside of here. And here we go. We can see right here another posterior view. So we can tell because we can see like the heels, you can see like the backs of the legs. That's just going to be the giveaway. Now, what you are seeing highlighted in green here is 1/2 of the sciatic nerve. The sciatic nerve is the largest nerve in the body, but it's really two different nerves bundled together. It's what's called the tibial nerve and then the common fibular nerve. Now, here's the thing. We could also describe it as just being a division. So what this could also be described as is the tibial division of the sciatic nerve. And then the other half would be the common fibular division of the sciatic nerve. And so what's happening is semimembranosus, if we try to like just think the best we can right here, semimembranosus would be coming down and then it would be inserting right here. It just makes sense that you would have these offshoots coming off of that tibial division and innervating that semimembranosus, making sure that it's going to be active. All right, so let's go ahead and scroll to the top here. Now, again, this is a 100% free article. However, we'd like to put premium features in here, and these videos are indeed premium features. I'm gonna go ahead and full screen this, but I wanna show you the power of being able to see these muscles in action. So, first thing we're going to discuss. So we can see here, by the way, this is going to be the anterior side. This is the posterior side. You can tell because you can see the sacrum as it's turning into the coccyx. And we can see in red, this is going to be the semimembranosus. The white, those are showing just other muscles that are overlaid to kind of give you some perspective as to what else is in that area. So again, let's go ahead and press play. And what we're going to see is it's going to move the hip. Now, it says here that this is hip joint extension. Well, it's not saying this is extension. It's telling us that semimembranosus performs extension of the hip. The position you are seeing here, this is a fully flexed hip, right? So this is kind of like you're sitting in a chair. I mean, obviously the knee is extended as well, but just this is that position, right? Well, in this position, we can see that semimembranosus is as long as it can possibly be. In fact, this is a great hamstring stretch. In case you didn't know, if you ever want to know how to stretch a muscle, you do the exact opposite of its action. And so I'm telling you right now, possibly spoiling things, by having the knee extended and the hip flexed, you are stretching the semimembranosus. So what's going to happen is this is going to contract, and we are now going to witness what it's saying here, which is going to be extension of the hip, which is going to look like that. In fact, that is going to be the same action for all three hamstrings. Now, one of the other hamstrings has another function different than that, but still, that is still going to be the common function, I should say. Let's put it that way, the common function of all three of these. But let's see what else it's able to do. So now, once again, we are now looking at a medial view. So we've kind of switched it around. So again, you can see the sacrum, you can see the coccyx, but now you can see the entire inside of the os coxa. We can also see that inner parts of the thigh musculature. But I told you that we'd be able to see this in the animation, because here again is semimembranosus. And if we look, we can see it's inserting right here. This is that posterior aspect of the medial condyle, which is this entire thing here. All right, so now that we have that, we can see that it says on screen that it's going to be flexion. So now let's see what flexion looks like. And there it is. What you just witnessed was flexion of the knee, which makes sense. Now we can see this muscle is much more straight in line, right? It was being stretched out. So as it contracted and got shorter, that just brought that knee up into a flexed position. But that is not it. All right, so we're also going to see that there is a third function to the semimembranosus. Now, we can see that it's already telling us it's going to be internal rotation of the knee. So I want to just quickly describe what basically how the knee can rotate. So if you have your knee extended, right, just straight, and you try to rotate your knee, it's not going to work. What instead is going to happen is your whole hip is going to rotate. But if you flex the knee, you then will have a little bit of rotation that you can do inside of there, and it's not going to be a lot. You only have about 10 degrees of what's called internal rotation and 40 degrees of what's called external rotation. And so what's going to happen is that the semimembranosus is going to contribute with other muscles to that 10 degrees of internal rotation of the knee. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. This is a neutral position for the knee. So let's go ahead and boom. All right, so what happened is it just turned internally, turned medially. That is what we get from the semimembranosus. That is its third action. So we had extension of the hip, flexion of the knee, and internal rotation of the knee. Now, again, this is a premium feature, but it is residing inside of this 100% free Kenhub article. We've gone ahead and left a link down in the description below. Just go ahead and check it out already. I promise you it's going to be worth it. But while you're down there, if you could actually give this video a like, little things like that go a long way. And then also, if you want to leave us a comment, let us know what you liked, maybe possibly other things you want us to discuss in future videos. We are always looking for your feedback. But thanks again, as always, for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next video.